In the top stories, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew says he is proud St. Kitts and Nevis supported the Ghana-led UN resolution declaring slavery the gravest crime against humanity. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown is criticizing the judiciary over what he believes are lenient sentences in gun-related crimes, and Donald Trump has extended the ceasefire deadline in the Iran war as the standoff between the two countries escalates. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Friday, 27th March, and I am Jasmine Thomas. Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew says St. Christopher and Nevis is proud to have supported a Ghana-led United Nations resolution that has now been adopted, declaring slavery the gravest crime against humanity. Dr. Drew made the remarks on Wednesday while delivering feature comments at the Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit, where he reaffirmed the Federation's commitment to the initiative. The resolution was passed at the United Nations General Assembly with strong support, including from St. Christopher and Nevis and other CARICOM member states. It formally recognizes the transatlantic trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement as the gravest crime against humanity, citing its scale, brutality, and lasting global impact. The measure also calls on countries to consider formal apologies and support for reparations while promoting education, remembrance, and healing. The vote saw 123 countries in favor, with the United States, Israel, and Argentina voting against, and 52 abstentions, including the United Kingdom and the European bloc. While not legally binding, the resolution is seen as a major step in building global consensus around historical justice and reparative action. CARICOM has long advocated for reparations, arguing that the legalities of slavery continue to shape inequality and development challenges across the African diaspora. And St. Kitts and Nevis is positioning itself at the forefront of a major new initiative to expand opportunities within the creative economy. Working capital partners Aquarian Consult and the Ministry of Small Business, Entrepreneurship, Cooperatives and the Creative Economy have launched the Afro-Caribbean Creative Economy Development Initiative. The cross-regional collaboration is designed to strengthen the business and financial infrastructure supporting creative industries across Africa and the Caribbean. At the center of the initiative is a proposed asset-backed credit line of up to $2 billion aimed at providing working capital for artists, music labels, and creative entrepreneurs. The platform seeks to address a long-standing challenge in the industry where many creatives struggle to access financing to scale their work globally, often at the cost of losing ownership of their content. Officials say this model will allow artists and companies to expand internationally while retaining control of their intellectual property right. The initiative will also include training programs, workshops, and professional development efforts to build capacity across the creative sector. St. Kitts and Nevis is the first government to formally support the initiative, positioning the Federation as an early leader in advancing Afro-Caribbean collaboration in the creative industries. Additional countries are expected to join in the months ahead as the initiative gains momentum. And St. Christopher and Nevis was represented at a Regional Security Services meeting held in St. Lucia from the 25th to the 26th of March. Acting Commander of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, Major Coyote Sutton, and the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Cromwell Henry, attended on behalf of the Federation. The meeting built on recent regional security discussions, including those held during the 50th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts and Nevis, with a continued focus on emerging threats affecting the region. Representatives from the United States, the United Kingdom, CARICOM Impacts, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency also participated, sharing updates and perspectives on key security priorities. Discussions covered improving maritime domain awareness, strengthening the regional logistics hub under the Maritime Sustainment Initiative, and examining strategic approaches to disaster management across the region. On the regional scene, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown is calling on the region's judiciary to hand down tougher sentences for gun crimes, warning that leniency is undermining efforts to tackle violence. Speaking following the killing of 2 teenagers in his constituency on Thursday, Prime Minister Brown said his government has taken steps to increase penalties, but accused the courts of not aligning with those efforts. While acknowledging the independence of the judiciary, Brown said court decisions are now having a direct impact on government policy and public safety.
We're doing all we can to even put away those who have guns, who are involved in gun crimes. I find though that in many instances the court, they're not working with us. They are giving them lenient sentences. People involved in gun crimes should be put away for a long time. And the extent of the confinement should be such that the youth must think twice to know that, look, if you're involved in a gun crime, you're going to jail for at least 10 years. So I also want to make an appeal to the judiciary. We know that they're independent of the executive and the parliament. But when the parliament goes to parliament and we, or the members of parliament go to parliament and they increase the sentence, maximum sentence up to 10, 15 years, how can you justifiably give people 18 months and 1 year? And I'm saying that at the level of even the appeals court, they're letting down the Caribbean region. They're trying to show that they are in charge and they must be able to determine what level of sentences that may be say legally. But if the executive has shown that they're willing to put away people for a long time, why are members of the judiciary, even at the level of the appeals court, seeking to undermine that? And that is precisely what they are doing, and they need to stop.
He urged judicial officers across the region to step up and apply the full weight of the law in gun-related offenses. The government of Dominica says it is preparing to shield the economy from the impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett warned that while Dominica is not facing any direct security threat, the country is highly exposed to the economic fallout, particularly rising global oil prices. He said increased fuel costs are expected to drive up electricity rates, transportation costs, and the price of goods and services across the economy. The Prime Minister also pointed to potential disruptions in global shipping and supply chains, which could push food prices higher and impact availability. In response, the government is implementing a series of measures aimed at easing the burden on households and businesses.
First, we will introduce targeted relief measures to help manage the rising cost of living. This will include temporary reductions on duties and taxes on essential goods and increased support for vulnerable households through our social protection programs. Second, we are taking steps to manage energy costs. We will work closely with the Dominica Electricity Services to moderate the impact of rising fuel prices on electricity tariffs. And of course, geothermal is coming just at the opportune time. Third, we will protect jobs and economic activity. We will engage with stakeholders in tourism, agriculture, and the private sector to ensure continuity and resilience during this period. Fourth, we are strengthening our fiscal management, carefully prioritizing government spending to ensure that critical services are maintained while some discretionary expenditures are.
Prime Minister Scarrett said the government is also engaging key sectors such as tourism and agriculture to maintain economic stability during the period of uncertainty. And now for news on the international scene. U.S. President Donald Trump has extended his deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz as tensions in the region continue to escalate. The extension comes after Iran rejected a proposed deal to end the conflict, which has now spread across parts of the Middle East. Iran has given no clear indication that it is prepared to negotiate with its Revolutionary Guard, warning that shipping linked to U.S. and Israeli allies could be targeted. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical global shipping route, has effectively been blocked, disrupting energy supplies and driving up oil and gas prices worldwide. President Trump says he will delay any strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure for an additional 10 days, claiming talks are underway, a claim Iran has denied. Meanwhile, the conflict continues to take a human toll, with reports of civilian casualties following airstrikes in several Iranian cities. The situation remains highly volatile, with Iran warning it could retaliate by targeting energy facilities across the Gulf region. And Indonesia is moving to restrict access to social media platforms for users under the age of 16 as part of new measures aimed at protecting young people online. The government has classified several major platforms, including Roblox, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, as high risk, citing concerns about addiction, cyberbullying, and exposure to strangers. Under the new rules, companies will be required to adjust age limits and remove underage users from their platforms. But with the changes set to take effect on Saturday, there is growing confusion about how the policy will actually be implemented. Experts say key details, including how accounts will be verified or deactivated, have not been clearly outlined, leaving both parents and users uncertain. Tech companies say they are taking steps to comply with some introducing additional safety features for younger users. However, analysts warn the policy may be difficult to enforce and could be easily circumvented. We now take a look at the weather. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis, valid for 24 hours. Today we'll see partly sunny skies with a moderate chance of a brief passing shower. Tonight expect fair to partly cloudy conditions at first, becoming cloudier after midnight with a moderate chance of brief passing showers. Daytime temperatures will reach a high of 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit with an overnight low of 21 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be easterly at 11 to 26 kilometers per hour or 7 to 16 miles per hour, becoming lighter at times overnight. Seas will be moderate, ranging from 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunset this evening is set for 6:23, with sunrise tomorrow morning at around 6 o'clock. That brings us to the end of the Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. Grace be to you and peace be multiplied.